Can we start, sir?
Yes.
Oh, sir, it's 3, 2, 1. Sir, we are live now. Over to you.
Good morning, friends. Welcome to Life Pharma Coalition, our weekly elixir of learning and development for the pharmaceutical professionals. It is said that our destiny is not created by the shoes we wear, but by the steps we take. In fact, Benjamin Franklin once said that tell me and I forget, teach me and I may remember, involve me and I learn. Friends, no matter how hard the past is, we can always begin again. Every day is a chance to begin again. So don't focus on the failures of yesterday. Instead, start today with positive thoughts and experience. Leadership and learning are indispensable to each other, and there are 5 important things for living a successful and fulfilling life. 1. Never stop dreaming. 2. Never stop believing. 3. Never give up. 4. Never stop trying. And most important, never stop learning. So friends, keep learning because life keeps teaching. So live as if you were to die tomorrow, but learn as if you are going to live forever. So that has been the golden mantra of LPC, because we are always learning and we are always sharing. And that has been the endeavor that has carried out through the last 106 sessions of Life Pharma Coalition. So now I would like to share the journey of LPC for the last 106 sessions, the support that you have given us, and of course, the learnings that we have been enriched with. So welcome to Life Pharma Coalition, the world's largest online pharma discussion platform. And it is basically for learning and sharing. So friends, it has become the world's largest online pharma discussion platform because of the support that you have extended to all of us by your participation and by the way you have shared your learnings, you have shared your knowledge. And we have had more than 45 plus pharma companies and 125 plus speakers and 20,000 plus reach on Facebook as well as YouTube. We have a strong team of 28 executive members who are spread across the length and breadth of this globe, and who meet for this weekly session that we have on Sunday to make it more meaningful, making it more engaging. Friends, this was the event that we were all waiting for, and that was LPC 100 Conclave, which was at Mumbai on the 20th of March. So this LPC 100 Conclave was very successful because of the support, because of your presence, and because of the knowledge sharing you have been doing with us for the so many weeks, for the so many months and years. So for any type of collaboration with Life Pharma Coalition, please get in touch with Mr. Raman, Mr. Yashwant, Mr. ICS, and myself. These are the leaders, the top leaders who were a part of the LPC 100 Conclave, and they came from different pharma companies, and they were present to share their knowledge, share their learning, and share their experience. And this photograph is reminiscent of the fact of the time we spent together on the 20th of March to learn from each other, to share knowledge, to share our experience, and most important, to support the endeavor of Life Pharma Coalition. So thank you so much to our support partner, that is Imagica Health, who have been very much instrumental in supporting us session after session. And in fact, Imagica Health in a nutshell explores the intersection between design, digital health technology, and content marketing for the leading brands. In fact, Imagica Health have an ex-marketeer-led team of the medical writers, graphic designers, streamers, coders who serve the pharmaceutical for bettering customer engagement, bringing patient centricity, improving control on the sales team, and increasing the return on investment for their various marketing campaigns. So thank you so much, Imagica Health, for being a constant support to our learning endeavor. Now today, as we come to LPC 107, which is Global Leadership, Building a Collaborative Learning Community, we have with us the speakers who are Dr. Anup Das, who is a CEO, Nanyuki Cottage Hospital, Kenya, and a board member and advisor of various organizations. And along with him, we have Mrs. Kakuli Das Roy Choudhury, who is the head strategy Harleys Limited, Nairobi, Kenya. In fact, this is the first time on LPC that we are having a husband-wife duo of Dr. Anup Das and Mrs. Kakuli Das Roy Choudhury. And the topic that they are going to dwell upon is create your own path. And I am very sure that our audience is going to enjoy and as well as learn from this session that we are in. Along with me, we have Mr. Praveen Pandey as a moderator, who is DGM International Marketing, Grow Care Pharmaceuticals. And as a panelist, we have Mr. Vishal Chandra, who is Associate Vice President, Venus Pharma GmbH. So friends, thank you so much for being a constant support in our last session, that is LPC 106, which was on leadership, and it was live on Facebook page and YouTube. So coming back to our session, so this gives me an opportunity to first of all request Mr. Vishal to give a 1-minute introduction of himself. Mr. Vishal, over to you.
To my Indian friends, namaskar. Guten Morgen from Germany, and in Russian you call Dobre Utra. So being a multilingual helps a lot to introduce across the globe. As a professional, currently I'm based in Germany, taking care of operations of Venus Pharma. We are a commercial hub. We are into sales and marketing across the Middle East, European Union, CIS markets, and parts of Western African geography of the world. We do have analytical laboratory operations in Germany, warehousing and logistics support. So it's a good learning journey. Like most of us, I have also started my career with the Indian pharma industry in domestic market, and I've grown across different positions and now based as a vice president in Germany. I would love to more focus on today's discussion because for the first time I've been a part of LPC for last so many episodes, and for the first time we are having a duo. This is fantastic. I love to correlate one experience of mine. As a student, we used to go for college picnics and so many get-togethers. So once upon a time, we had discussed that we'll go for a cycle tour. Okay, so we were discussing, and how can a bicycle ride be full of fun and be least tiresome? So at that time, couple of years ago, I had given the answer. First of all, if there are less number of cycles, then you need to have two riders. And if they are a couple, it will be fantastic. That answer I had given so many years ago. And then now I like to add two things on my answer that I had given so many years ago. So on the bicycle, if the couple, they are striving for sharing the pedaling efforts, they'll go long enough. And then every bike has a two tires. So if the size of the two tires are equal, the air pressure is equal, then the ride will be full of fun. So now I can correlate how this couple. I've gone through the profiles. Dr. Das, he's a social entrepreneur. He's a CEO of a hospital, board member of a couple of organizations, and Mrs. Das, she's got an immense experience into domestic, and now she's based on domestic and now international pharmaceutical business. A fantastic couple, and I'm sure that this session of today's is going to be wonderful, and I look forward
Thank
to
you.
have many questions which will benefit professionals across the industry, for the the business development and marketing professionals, and to the manufacturing community as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Vishal sir. Now I'll request Praveen sir to give a 1-minute introduction of himself.
Uh, Thank you, Arpanji. Good morning to all viewers, and a special welcome for speakers who are based in Kenya. A special welcome again for moderator Mr. Vishal, who is based in Germany. all different time zones people are together at one platform. The same, which Mr. Vishal was talking about, different thoughts, one cycle and one platform, and it will long journey, definitely. So I am Praveen Pandey, offering 15 years experience in pharmaceutical industry. I have maintained equilibrium till now, I should say, for domestic as well as international. It's just 7.5 years for domestic market, 7.5 year international. Presently, I'm based in New Delhi and looking after African market, Asian, CIS, and Middle East. Recently, I have started Latin market completely, which we favored with Gracio Pharmaceutical Limited as a DGM hold. Thank you so much and welcome once again. It's over to Mr. Arpan.
Thank you so much, Praveenji, for this short and sweet introduction of yours. Now let me come to the speakers. Well, it is said that if you want to go fast, then walk alone. But if you want to go far, walk together. And that's exactly what the duo of Sir and Ma'am are going to bring to the table today. So I will request Anup Sir to just give us a 1 minute brief of what he has to give us today.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Arpan, for the brief introduction. Thank you, Vishal, and thank you, Praveen. It's a great platform to connect with all our pharma colleagues throughout the world. So when we were approached about getting on board for this interesting, being part of the LPC, we were asked to, give a topic that will, help many people across the globe. And we were thinking that what should we speak as a duo, as a team, as a group, because we have been together for last 23 years and we have done things together and experienced our professional and personal lives together, and there is a lot to share. So we thought that let's talk about the journey of our lives, and let's talk about how we create our own paths. So how you create your own paths through the different experiences we had across the globe, working in different organizations, different geographies. So that's how it brings to some of those interesting ideas and things which we have already experimented, we experienced ourselves, and we learned on the way, and we are still learning. So how do we create your own path? So point is, we talk about a lot of these leadership topics and all that, but in practicality, in terms of when you are in ground zero, at the ground, what you are actually delivering and how you are able to deliver. So those are the things which we will talk about from our experiences. Like, so for example, that what is the importance of thinking big, and is thinking big good enough, or is it important to work on it, and how do you work on it? Yeah. And then when you're working in different organizations and different geographies, what is the importance of understanding of cultural dynamics of those organizations, and what is the importance of understanding the geographical dynamics, because culture is different every 200 kilometers we move. Yeah. And then how we move to senior positions, how we developed ourselves as leaders, and how we are able to create teams and train them, and how we were able to coach and mentor them. So those are some of the interesting learnings we will go through during the session today. And what is the importance of looking at disruptive innovations and finding your own blue ocean? So those are the few things we will go through during the entire discussion today. So that's why create your own path. We thought it will be a sharing of our experiences through this platform. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anup sir. In fact, we are looking forward to enriching ourselves with the experience that you have had so far in the pharma industry, starting from the smallest position and now being an entrepreneur, a CEO. So I am very sure our audience will be waiting to hear from you. Now, ma'am, can you just give us a small brief of what you are going to discuss today?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, first of all, Arpan, and thank you so much, Vishal and Praveen. And it's I'm very, very delighted to be in this platform. and to share our experiences. As Dr. Anup said, that we are going to talk about create your own path. And, yesterday it was Kavi Guru Rabindranath Tagore's birthday. And as a Bengali, I am born and brought up with his poems, songs, and novels, the short stories, and all those things that has inspired every point of life where the mind is without fear. I went to a school, the primary school, which had no chair and table. We used to carry small stitched cloths that we call ashons. And from there, I dare to dream big, dare to dream to be in a field where very few women work at that point of time when I joined, and improved myself through a lot of updated knowledge and the skills, and went to leadership positions. I'll say that my career has been shaped by so many mentors and my senior colleagues who has really, really taught me so many things, and also life. So, meeting Anup was also something that was life changing. And we finally have arrived to Kenya, and we did a lot of, I'll say that, contribution to many people's life. So I'll say in my discussion, prioritizing and then choosing the right thing, sticking to the decisions, and being there in a diverse field. I'm going to talk about effectiveness, how we should be improving every time. And all these actually really helps to create our own path, because I started thinking that I do not belong to the run of all, and I want to do myself. Quite similar like Akla Cholore, that Tagore said that if you are calling many people and no one is coming, better you go alone. And I'm fortunate, I'm not alone. I have my life partner with me. And together we created our own path, which we want to discuss. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kakuli ma'am. In fact, yes, Pochishe Boishak, that is Kavi Guru Rabindranath's birthday. In fact, that is etched in the memories of every Bengali who is connected to the roots. And yes, life has been the biggest teacher. And after life, it has been Sir, who has been a great mentor, a great guide. And in fact, you both have been so complementary to each other. You have complemented each other in every path that you have taken. And indeed, Kavi Guru's line that Akla Cholore, because if you are going for blue oceans, you are probably the first who is going to dwell on that. And if you are successful, you will always be the winner. Because if you follow somebody, the best that you can do is coming second. But if you are on a blue ocean, Akla Cholore, you are going to be the first. Maybe the road is difficult, but not impossible. And impossible is the word found in the dictionary of fools. So that is why we always would like to dwell on the blue oceans. And that is incidentally one of the topics that you are also going to speak about in the blue oceans. So thank you for the wonderful introduction to the topics that you have in store for all of us. Now it's time I go over to Vishal sir so that he can give a formal introduction of Kakuli ma'am, and then we can get along with the session. So over to you, Vishal sir.
Right. Once again, a very warm welcome to Ms. Kapli Das Roy Chaudhary. Dr. Das is a senior management professional with almost 3 decades of experience in pharma industry. What makes her profile unique? Uh, First, she is one of the few female professionals of Indian origin working in African pharma industry, and uh, she is stationed in Kenya, which is among the biggest market of this geography. Mrs. Kakli has a cross-functional leadership experience with responsibilities across marketing strategies, organizing trainings for the workforce, field force effectiveness, product management and communications, and everything which you expect a senior leader to contribute. Like most of us, she started her career with entry-level job into marketing research with QFIC, then a part of Ranbaxy, and then progressed to a regional manager level role in Pfizer. And she represents the woman power with accolade of being the first lady district manager in India. For the last 10 years, Mrs. Das is into international business, working with Harley's Limited, a top pharmaceutical marketing company in African continent. Uh, she's very well read, very well qualified. Uh, she was uh, she had qualified for West Bengal Civil Services exam in 1994, won special award for academic excellence in 1987, and for last 12 years she has been based in Kenya. Uh, Mrs. Das has been taking care of projects of MNCs like Calgot, like Astellas, like Smith and Nephew, the Indian giants like Charak, Leica, Mayers, and our aim is to utilize the next quarter of this session to get a crux from our immense experience that will help the business professionals and pharmaceutical manufacturing companies to know Kenya, the dynamics of this market, and create our own path for being successful during the changing market scenarios. Uh, and after doing all these things, Mrs. Das enjoys reading, coaching, dancing, music, traveling also. So I would say that to our peers, who say that we have less time, then I would say सुधर जाओ और मैम से सीखो time management कैसे होता है. So much she has accomplished. So I would like to straight away, start the session and ask a couple of questions related to her journey, professional journey, personal journey, and straight to the question, ma'am. Out of the various countries in Africa that you have worked, like Tanzania, Uganda, Kenya, Ethiopia, what has fascinated to choose Kenya as a country to settle down? And then just is it because of Dr. Anup Das, or it is something beyond that?
Okay. um, okay, to settle down, I have problem with that word settle, because when I start thinking that I am settled, there is some new opportunity comes up and then we get unsettled. So I always have problem with the word settle. So I believe in living in present and working for future wherever I am. Okay, answering to your query, we came to Kenya. Okay, I came to Kenya because of Anup, of course, because he got the first opportunity. And I was then regional business manager for Pfizer India, looking after the neuroscience team. And in fact, it was at the beginning stage of forming the neuroscience team. I was traveling a lot, and when he got this opportunity, so I was like, our child was like, our son was just 11-year-old, and I thought that I really cannot, bring up my son alone in Mumbai city and traveling half of the month in Maharashtra, whole Gujarat, then like full of West region, MP included. So I was traveling a lot, and I said, no, I have to prioritize what I want to do now. And of course, I prioritized my family before my career. So I left my career and joined him and came. Fortunately, within 2 months, I got this opportunity to work for Harley's. And the first interaction we had with the chairman of Harley's, Mr. Rupen Shah, he gave me this opportunity. So I started working in Kenya. In between, I traveled all these countries like Uganda, Tanzania, Ethiopia, and all these for business development, because we also have branches in few of these countries. So I've worked there also. But I'll say that Kenya, from the aspect of business, Kenya is surely, if somebody wants to start his business or career even in East Africa, Kenya is the place to be. We loved the nature over here, the weather over here, that is on the personal front. But on the professional front, language is not a barrier much, because people speak English. So we have skilled field force who speak English and with whom you can really immediately connect. Communication throughout the world from Kenya is very good. In fact, the shipments are possible because access to Mombasa, is there. So the shipments comes to East Africa, and from here we ship to other East African countries. To begin with, Kenya really is the doorstep for East African business to start up for the startups. Nairobi is very much cosmopolitan city. So just coming from Mumbai, I never felt like, okay, I'm not getting adjusted with the city. It's very, very cosmopolitan. There are very many like-minded people. There are many Indians. you don't miss Indian food. There are so many temples here, so you don't miss your spirituality, you don't miss your religion. And with all the things together, the last 10 years is like fish. I do not know how I spent so many years here. And actually, people like you have started thinking that we are settled here. No, we are not settled here. I don't think we are settled, but it's a beautiful place to be as far as business is concerned, because you can maximize your business. The workforce is there, the doctor specialties are there, the medical tourism is there. In fact, from other parts of Africa, people do come here for their medical treatment, particularly from Tanzania, Uganda, and all these places. And compared to those places, I feel that Kenya is much, much stable politically, even, and in fact, culturally also. It's very cosmopolitan, it's very accommodative. So that makes sense to stay here and build.
Fantastic. That's great. So I'm sure during the course of discussion we'll learn more about this. Ma'am, as I started that there are very few female professionals at a senior management level in pharma industry. Yes, there are examples, but we can always count them on fingers. So, what is your take on diversity in pharmaceutical sales and marketing? Are female professionals having adequate representation at senior management level roles in the pharma organizations? What is your take on this?
This is a very interesting question. Ways back in 93, I started working for Grufik for 6 months. I did market research, and that was basically for earning pocket money because I was preparing for West Bengal Civil Service. And as I was preparing, I gave the exam. The written exam was over, and in between, the Pfizer ad was there. For the first time, they are looking for professional service officer, lady professional service officer. It was an open interview, which started with group discussion our training. So Mr. Iqbal and all, they came down to Calcutta because they didn't want the ladies to go far to Mumbai for the final interview, and they selected out of, I think, almost 30 ladies that they turned up. Three of us, three ladies were selected, and okay. I'll say that in the leadership position, you have to start from somewhere, but ladies were not there. We started the journey, I'm saying about 94 when I joined Pfizer, first batch of lady representatives we used to call as professional service officers. And we're like very much nurtured like a, glass, like, oh, they will fall, they'll break, and like that. And it's just experimental. Company will just disrupt it after a few days, and like that the journey started like that. From 3 metro cities, they took 9 ladies, and our batch of 30 gents and 9 ladies, we were there from 3 metro cities. So we went for training and came up, and I started working. I'd say it was never my dream to join and work as a medical representative per se, but the officer portion, like, professional service officer, that officer actually, elated me to keep on working nicely. The result of the West Bengal Civil Service came out after 1 year, and I got chosen. Okay. So, but now I loved Pfizer so much. The culture of working there, my senior colleagues, the way they probably, they pampered us, and that was so nice place to work. Why should I join? In fact, my dad said, okay, go ahead. My parents have been very, very supportive. I used to live alone in Kolkata as a paying guest because my hometown is Shiliguri. It's a very small town. And I started working, and then, every step I got motivation to work because of my good colleagues, my managers, and they really, really helped, as I said, that shaped my career. There was a time, there was a field, and when I was going to the field, there were so many doctors reacting. In fact, one of the doctor scolded my boss, to this young lady, so thin lady, why you have given such a big bag? Why she's carrying such a huge bag? All those type of things came up because it was traveling, carrying a huge bag full of all, cough syrup and this and that, all those things. So I would say that um, this field, this marketing field, was absolutely dominated by male, or I'll say men. But when I look into my customers, there are so many lady doctors, as far as there are so many gents or gentlemen, there are so many lady doctors. So if your customer has got diversity, why as a salesperson we should not have diversity? And that was, keeping in my mind, like, okay. And then I started hearing that in US, Pfizer has lady force. They have their own car and they have they're very good. They're equal, and there are positions that they are actually in higher positions. And the dream started coming because I was doing pretty well. And I'll say that it makes sense to have on the board, in the boardroom, equal proportion of male and female, because that diversity brings another angle of thinking. And that over a period of time, Pfizer very much realized, because I was part of winning team, I was part of women leadership for Pfizer, the different workshops and things that we did. And even today, when I come to Kenya and looking into the international market, I come across there are so many, like field force over here are 50-50. The ladies are 50% of the field force, and even in the higher position. But the top positions, still, I think there we have to evolve far more, because in the top position, we still do not have equal proportion of male and female. But I think we are going towards that. We are actually slowly moving towards that the women should also have equal, at least 50-50 in the leadership positions. I'll say that, there are things that keeps a woman behind all these. Maybe this is a topic for women leadership, but in a woman's life, the career, the children, everything, the family goes hand in hand. You cannot just leave one and say, now I'm focusing on career, now I'm focusing on children, and then I'll come back. And that's the biggest thing, that you have to do everything together. And we are into different league actually. But as we are creating, first, maybe I have created my own path. I have faced a lot of problems, a lot of challenges. I had to prove twice, like I am even equal to you. I have to prove twice in many, many cases. So that's fine. But now, since we have created the path, I think there are many more ladies to come. And I know, I mean, so many colleagues I have in India who are lady, and they are in touch with me. And then we often speak about our journey. And if we can help each other understand and mentor, I think this situation is going to change, and it's going to help all the marketers, because diversity is the key. I don't know whether I have answered you.
No, adequately answered. I really appreciate, and I'm sure, uh, yes, by setting an example to the other female colleagues in the industry, we have all, amongst all of us, we have so much to learn from you, and gain insights from your experience and exposure, from your journey from domestic and then into national business. So now I'm going to ask a couple of questions related to the business aspects. Uh, Ma'am, would you tell me, for a startup organization, what makes Kenya different or similar to other Anglophone African markets? No, I've seen your profile. You've been working in Eastern African markets, which are primarily Anglophone. So, what makes Kenya different from Ethiopia or Uganda, for sake, in terms of marketing setup? How are the distributors different between Kenya and Uganda and Ethiopia? What is the ease or difficulty of having the product registrations? What is your take on this?
Okay. For any startup company, like, you have to have a partnership with the local distributor. And if I compare all the East African countries, I'll say that it makes sense to start with Kenya, because of, the market is more regulated. Yeah. So if you have to register things, it takes 6 months time, but you get registrations properly. It's not like Ethiopia, which is very, very conservative, and they may not even, after trying 1 year or 2 years, you may not get a registration done. So Kenya, as I said, that skilled field force, communication, much regulated market, much systemic processes are in place, and population-wise, you will get more compared to Uganda, Tanzania to start with. Even Tanzania has much restricted market. And if you have to go for distributors, also you'll see most of the distributors, the big ones, are based in Kenya. So they would give you like, okay, first start with Kenya, then you can also operate in Uganda and Tanzania at the same time. So it makes sense, like, you have to get in touch with all of them based mainly in Kenya. Okay, the infrastructure, yes, the infrastructure and the processes are actually built much more systemic in Kenya, which makes sense. And also amongst East Africa, if you have to start business in East Africa, it should be Kenya. That I think everyone will just suggest that thing. And because of these things, because even if you go to Tanzania, if you go to a hospital, you want to talk to a doctor, you may not be able to speak in English and get his feedback, because you have to speak in Swahili. But in Kenya, everyone will be speaking English. So you go anywhere, language is not at all a barrier, you get to know. So most of it is like based in Kenya, you start Kenya, and then you flourish in the other East African countries. As far as the regulatory part is concerned, there is very, very specific, like the PPB, the Pharmaceutical and Poison Board of Kenya is there. So they have their systems now in online. They have, so you can go there and you can register your product. And if you are partnering with a distributor, of course, that distributor will have a regulatory team and who will help you to liaise with PPB and get those registrations done for the products. It's as simple as like that. So it's not like, you will be spending years together or to get registered your product and start your business. If you have a proper plan in place, and if you have a good distributor in place, of course, you can get your things done much faster in Kenya.
Great, fantastic. Ma'am, field force is an integral part of any marketing or a distribution setup, which is supposed to commercialize the products in the market. So, for an established company or maybe a startup organization, so what is the usual team structure? Maybe the number of field force required for managing the business operations. And part B of the question would be: is it better to have your own field force? Suppose I'm an entrepreneur to start the marketing. So would it be better to have my own field force, or to have a marketing or distribution agreement? What is a better model?
Okay. Yeah, as I get your question, field force is very, very important. Yes, absolutely. The model, as you are asking, that whether with the principal company does their own should have their own field force, or they give, there are different types of agreement that happens with the distributor and the principal company. There are principal company who are coming with just generic, so they need a field force. But for generic, they do not want to spend a lot on their own field force. So maybe, they want to sell like all these 5 products, and the distributor just buy them. And the distributor has its own field force who just promote them, and so they do the marketing as well as the distribution. And you just come as a principal company and sell the products, done. But you have a new product as concept, you have to align your field force with your, global perspective. And you really need to have a field force who will conceptualize the idea, talk about it, and it's a new concept, and you want to build and be there for long duration. It's something new that you are bringing. Obviously it will be good to have your own field force, but the field force can be still based with the distributor. You are the employee of those field force, but they can be still based at the distributor level, where you spend for the field force yourself, but the distributor level, the field force is there best with them. You get an office over there, and you get all the support of like training, you get all the support of regulatory and expansion and all those things from the distributor itself. So the marketing may be together 50-50, or you decide, like, I'll be doing this, I'll spend on all this on the conferences, or the distributor said, okay, I'll spend on all the small pens or the promo items that I'll be making. So there are different types of I'll say the agreements that can happen between the distributor and the principal company. It will be totally based on the need of that company, like the products that they want to sell, the market they want to develop, and if they are very ambitious and aggressive, so they will think in different way. Or if they just want to do, okay, I have these generics and these markets I want them to push, you go in a different way. Because the volume of business, of course, comes from tender, and for the big institutes where you really need to push things. So having your own sales field force really makes sense, but it may be at the same time more costly. So, you do the cost benefit understanding and decide. All options are open generally.
Thank you so much for adequately answering the question. I'm seeing Dr. Das is patiently hearing as a good husband. Sir, how often you get involved in domain of Ms. Kakali? You are related only with social entrepreneurship and your own setup, or at home you discuss business with her?
So at home, we hardly discuss business because we have got so many other things to discuss, because we are also involved socially, culturally. We also do a lot of, social activities and all that. And culturally also, Kakali is my trainer. Actually, she trains me. She's a very good dancer, and she trains me on dance. And we perform every year, so she is my dancing guru and all that. And of course, when it comes to discussions and all
Sir,
that,
my
yes.
wife also makes me dance. I'm dancing since last 20 years.
So that is there. Fortunately, we are lucky to have such partners who are capable of training us on other things as well, apart from the day-to-day zindagi. So in terms of the business discussions, sometimes yes, when she needs certain strategic inputs and ideas in terms of what is working in the market, what is not working, and what's coming new, and which are the trends and all that. So we discuss, we sometimes discuss about trend analysis. We discuss about certain, opportunities in the market, some new things happening, and how we are learning from the past, and how we don't repeat, the same experiences which worked, or talking about things which are, not working. So let's not repeat them. So yes, sometimes we discuss, but
We share our frustration, surely.
yeah,
We
yes,
share our frustration.
definitely the
Definitely.
professional frustration sometimes we share.
Mm.
But in general, we don't discuss much about business at home. We keep it because frankly speaking, both of us are quite capable of dealing with their own professional, lives and commitments and all that, and we are quite, I would say we have.
We
Uh,
don't interfere.
yeah, we have surpassed expectations in many ways in our professional lives, also individually. So, and we also don't interfere in each other's business. So we have kept that, clear.
Great, fantastic. So, ma'am, because we have a limited time, I'll be, coming back again with my own set of, questions. From the angle of a marketing company or from the angle of a manufacturer. So, I'd love to ask a couple of more questions. Ma'am, can you give me some innovative marketing campaign executed by an Indian or a foreign multinational company that has helped any brand to gain market share instantly?
Innovative marketing campaigns. I'll say that for any of the companies who will start doing business here, very important thing would be to work with along with the societies, because there are very formed, like Surgical Society of Kenya, like Plastic Surgeon Society of Kenya, Pediatric Society of Kenya, like that. So these societies are very, very important, and they are very powerful. Some of the brands that I have launched and I have made it a point, probably let me give you from those examples. A launching platform can be this society's annual meeting, where you take sponsor, give the sponsorship and do a proper launch with, and you can create a very good noise level, and then follow up with your all action plans. I'll say that it's very important also at the same time, to really think about the volume of the business, because if you are only into private sector, you may not get the volume. You have to really enter into public sector. So another thing which is important is that in your description, how your product can be little different from the other, so that your description in a tender document becomes like, oh, it's only you that you can quote, because you do not know, from China to here to there, anyone can come and you have never seen them in the market, but they can quote their product. So that is one very, very tricky thing. I think it's very important to have maybe a packaging, or 2.5 or 5, or some addition of something which no one has, and something unique that can make your product unique. That's very, very important. Unique things that people have been doing, or I have done something like corporate social responsibility relating with that is some marketing, because it's a poor country, and if you do something which makes others feel that they're socially responsible, you create your own niche. So like for one of our big brand called Defeat, and though it's a consumer product, I created a corporate social responsibility angle of it, who a blind marathon runner, para-Olympic runner, Mr. Henry Wainuke. He was our brand ambassador. And then we used to donate for every pack we sell, we give 1 shilling to their foundation. And we created very big hype with that. There were big hoardings, things, and over, radio and television, we spoke, and we created a very big hype with that sort of marketing. So innovation in marketing very, very important. But at the same time, I think more than marketing, when it comes to implementation and what type of field force you have, and are they connected with whatever strategy you are giving, and if they are implementing in the right way or not, is very, very, very crucial. Because you might be thinking so much and given the strategy, but at the end of the day, it's not been implemented. So how passionately they get into the purpose of that whole thing is very important. There was one, because I did Smith and Nephew, let me tell you one, before doing Smith and Nephew, I was also doing Converted. From the scratch, I started, and they had a silver dressing. So which used to be 10 times costlier compared to a dressing which is used in normal setup. Yeah, I'm deviating from the pharmaceutical, but I'm just giving you this example because I've done work in all the sectors. So that, one day when I was working, and I was with my one of my colleague, and I saw that in Kenyatta Hospital there are children lying on the floor because they have some burn and they have to be dressed every day. That is the day which clicked in my mind, and I can see, her name was Beth, and I said, Beth, the purpose of my dressing to be here in this hospital is that there should not be any children lying on the floor. They should be dressed and sit back home. And they would come back after 4 or 5 days, because that was the USP of the product, that you can dress every third day, something like that. The purpose, and then she got so much involved with it. And I think it's very, very crucial that each field force get into that bigger purpose of why he is doing that one. And then she goes, or he goes, that extra mile to achieve that. So innovative marketing and social marketing is actually, social marketing is a key over here. I know there are many companies who are directly giving offers to the doctors, like, I can help you if you give this product, and, socially you can benefit. We are donating this much to this community to do this. Social marketing is key marketing theme in Kenya right now, I'll say that.
Perfect, ma'am. Ma'am, I could understand, that understanding the culture of the people and the country makes a big difference in designing the marketing campaigns. So before I hand over the session to Mr. Arpan and Mr. Praveen, one last question for me. As a foreigner, from Indian origin, and you are managing your, key principles from, which are based off Europe and American continent. So how do companies from different geographies manage their teams in Kenya? Is there any different? What is the key difference of different organizations? We Indians manage our businesses and the field force in a different way. There could be a different way how a multinational from Europe or American company would handle their own people. So, what is the difference according to you, and which approach is better?
Okay, to answer your question, when it is like we deal with more than 50 principal companies based in Europe and all places. But now, if you have a base over here, if you have a field force, either they are managed by people based in Kenya, then you may have an expat coming to Kenya and managing that field force, and that expat has got the responsibility to align with the culture of Kenya. That is one. But once it comes to people like me who are like based in Kenya, managing different lines, but we are constantly in touch with people who are probably based in Dubai, Switzerland, and someone is Ukraine, and someone is in India, and so they are the Africa, Middle East managers, as we have the positions like that, or someone based like Praveen in Delhi, and and we are talking to them, and we are managing. We are locally managing with them. So now the thing is that in international market, I think one very, very important thing for every human being is to have respect for people, how we communicate. Because some behavior of mine coming from Indian background, like not saying good morning to that guard, it doesn't come from Indian background, because if I keep saying the lift man good morning to the end, then I'll not even reach to the hospital sometime. So, but then the thing is that here the culture is that you have to say good morning to anyone you see. So I had my lesson, of
Agreed.
course, like, ma'am, you don't have time to even wish me. So it's like that. So it's a respect for people, and respect for whatever job they do is something very, very important once we are best in international market. You also have to always remember about the time frame. And I'm making a call, I know it's midnight over there, I should not be, and also I think emails are very, very important. Responding to the emails on times are very, very important when we are talking with them. And making a
So, do you
time.
see a difference between the approach shown by the Indian companies and European companies and Middle
Absolutely,
Eastern
I
companies?
think I know this is Indian, and calling at 6 a.m., knowing that it is 6 a.m. for calling still. It's India. I know that. We are grown with that culture. But that if that person would have been based in Switzerland, he would have never called me. He knows this is the Kenya time, and he would have never called me. I give this example, and he would actually write an SMS. Let me know. Let us fix up a time, and we talk. And when we talk at length. And then the emails and the messages that keeps coming going. That's okay. But then I'm saying that respect for people and how much you can be pushy, it is also something. We Indians are very pushy, very aggressive, but we should not be rude. It will be called like, oh, you are so rude,
Yeah, sorry.
like that. So I think that's very, very big learning of difference of culture. But we have become more, you have to become more humble to get your work done rather than being pushy. So it has to be balanced, because if you are too humble and not asking for your KPI, you may not get that also. So you will be ending up doing everything alone. So it's a balance that you have to keep. But most importantly, that if you are respectful, it resolves.
So
Fantastic. Lots and lots of questions. Over to you, Praveen
I'll
and Dr.
just
Anil.
add some words with Madam. I 100% agree with her. One thought, like Indians, they never think about what is time in Kenya, and just generally they go ahead to call. Hey, what is happening? That is okay. What is the payment status when you are placing the order? What is the sales? Oh my God!
Exactly.
But I do agree, Madam. If I could share somehow my screen of mobile. So here
Mhm.
total 7 zone of timing is there on my screen. And this I have learned from Kenya, that the first, if you are meeting even on petrol pump, the person who is filling fuel, you should say, good morning, how are you? That I have
Yes.
learned in 2013. And the time zone, yes, I have learned from Hong Kong when I was working with Fosun Pharma. I used to call up anytime to anyone, and I had been coordinated. I was based in Ghana sometime, and I had to coordinate with France as well as China. So this was complete different language and complete different time zone. Uh,
True.
that was horrible challenge. So from there, I just learned to manage some time, like time management. And at least before, if you're calling on some unofficial time, you should text, can we talk if there is any
Yes.
urgency. Yeah.
Yes.
So these etiquettes, honestly, we have learned out of India, not from India. India, in Indian company, just we have taught how to manage, how to market, how to sales, and that is perfect in India, no doubt. I have one question, madam, before going to another third session. You have worked with Indian companies, you have worked with multinational companies. So, what exactly input to develop in clinic effectiveness or sales force effectiveness for the field force? The ratio we would like to understand from Indian company who really want to develop their team, and European MNCs. Just will take MNCs. they really want to develop their team. They want to make them smart as well as self-sufficient. That we would like to understand from you.
I'll say, okay, as mm, because my whole career was in Pfizer. For 17 years, I spent in Pfizer. I'll say the way the skills are inbuilt when you start, when your career starts, and it's slowly it gets injected. The pressure gets injected to you slowly, over a period of time, and then you become like, But in Indian companies, they're trying, and I know that they're really, really trying hard to give that one type of training and things. I actually am not in a position to compare that because I've never worked for an Indian company. Okay, I'm in a senior position and coordinating with them. That is different. But I've never worked for an Indian company. So my all skill builds are from multinational. Their process orientation, their thinking, their but okay, I'm bringing those things to all the field force here I have in Harleys, because Harleys is, at the end of the day, it's a family run business. And that was one big challenge I faced when I came from Pfizer to here. And I found like, oh, like with whom I'm working. And, it's like that. So I've started developing processes and things over here. And that's been my main role over here, because I also lead the Salesforce effectiveness and marketing team over here. So I'll say the Indian companies are trying. I know that they are trying, but I'm not in a position to compare. That is the thing. My skill build is from multinational, and I owe so much. I owe so much learning over there, because there's a continuous learning, and they'll spend so much on your learning. They'll not ask, oh, okay, okay, I'll say that there is a little difference. Like when there is a training session, we always used to have a training session on a Monday morning with a full fresh mind and things like that. Okay. And then here you come, and then the training, oh, it will be on Saturday after 12:30. Like what? It comes towards the end of your priority. I do not know if it is still in practice, but I saw that one when I come, like, okay, Saturday at 12:30, the training would start. Like, everyone is tired. There is no mind, there is no freshness. So you give much less importance to training, whereas in Pfizer or in multinationals, we had so much importance of given to training. But things are changing. Things are surely changing, because we have like SFE now, and as I'm leading SFE, I know that how much emphasis I'm now giving on that. Yeah.
I think, sir, you want to add anything, Anup sir?
Oh, no, I don't want to add anything. I think she's spoken enough and with her mind, and what she's actually doing practically here, making things possible from nothing. So she's been a change catalyst wherever, whichever organization she touched. And look at the stability she has, with Pfizer 17 years,
17
then
years.
in 10 years. So only with two organizations, her half lifetime is complete. So
But I've not done the same work.
so stable. And despite being attached to these companies, she has been doing so many diverse different kind of work, taking care of different kind of departments, different kind of organizations, different specialities, developing different teams, so
Yeah.
different geographies. So very interesting, the way,
because I
she's-
kept my option open, because once you come from I think that's also important. Like, once you come as a line manager to another country with small portfolio of yours, and you are best with a distributor, at times you may find that you are not doing enough. The portfolio is not enough. So you may have to venture into different things. So I never shy away to do consumer health, which I never did, to do surgical products, to do specialized wound care products, and even I do 3M. I have done 3M, like, dental care products. So, okay, ophthal, I do not have any problem. I've kept my mind open. It's just the one key thing I understand: if you have understood your customer, understood the need of the customer, and you just be there to satisfy his need, your job is done. So whatever is that one, and I think that's very, very important for stability, because in Harleys, I've never done one line. I've done so many lines for last 10 years. Like anything new comes in, and when people are leaving hope, I start from there, pick up and do things. So that's I think is something I love to do.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Vishal sir, over to you. If any
No,
questions
I
left.
have enough of my, questions. Over to you for next part of the session with Dr. Das.
Okay, okay. Uh, the next we are going to talk for Dr. Anup Das. Today everyone has given some examples like Kavi Rabindranath Tagore, then Ekla Chalo, and but I don't have much to say. I'm really very less in academic, I should say. I have a big gap between practical and academia. So, but I have still one example because I'm going to introduce someone who is social entrepreneur, futurist, and almost 27 years plus experience in healthcare industry. So in that situation, if I have to introduce him, then I should say examinee is better than examiner. I don't know how to ask questions online. So I'll just hand over to you only, like what you're going to talk based on. Definitely, we'll pick some questions from live and some which already has been created in mind that to be asked. So let me introduce Dr. Anup Das. Dr. Das is social entrepreneur and futurist with professional experience and expertise more than 27 years healthcare industry. Currently, he is performing as CEO for Nanyuki Cottage Hospital, as a director for Paper Alive, board member for New Money, the Children and Good Relief Institute, advisor board member for phonehealth.com, chairman for Kenya Bengali Cultural and Welfare Society. It's beautiful. Earlier, he has served as a CEO for MP Shah Hospital, and he was the MD and Group CEO for MedHill Group of Hospital, founding CEO for Medanta Africare, and was instrumental in launching and establishing these company projects in Africa that Greater on Height. Mr. Anup has worked with world-class multinational companies like Novartis, Sandoz, J&J, IMS Health, BOC Gases, and BD, as well as Pfizer. Dr. Das has completed PhD in Humanities, honorary director received from United Graduate College of Seminary International, USA. He has completed Masters in Business Management, General Management, Strategy, Leadership from Asian Institute of Management, Manila, Philippines. His really expertise to include entrepreneurship, leadership through managing business directors, general managers, consulting corporate, strategy, business development, greenfield, brownfield, and expansion projects. So, so many details which could be mentioned online with his WhatsApp number, with his Twitter, LinkedIn, and email ID, which definitely, if he personally would like to share on screen, we will share later, and we'll hand over session to Dr. Das, and it's completely our pleasure to hear from you. Thank you, Mr. Das, and welcome, please.
Thank you, Praveen. Thank you for that introduction. So let me first connect with you. I started my career like all of us here on this platform as a medical representative. Yeah, I'm proud to talk about that. At the age of when I was 19 years old, and 1995 is the year when I started as a medical representative working for that time a multinational called CERL, which later on became RPG Life Sciences after I left. But CERL was the original name of the company, and a very interesting journey I have actually, how from a medical representative I became what I am today. And to be very honest, when I was at that time, no, I always destined to actually become an army officer. Because my father was in defense services and all, and I've grew up, looking at him. And just to give you about the adaptation and diversity, in my 12 years of schooling, I changed 10 schools. So you can understand how interesting it was, and how I had to be very adaptive in different locations, different geographies, moving around with my father and all that stuff. So always dreamt of becoming an army officer, and I was almost there actually. preparing for it. I qualified SSB interview. I was actually chosen, but I think fate had something else for me. So that's why I'm landed up in this industry. In fact, when I was working with Searle, I actually was doing my post-graduation in science from Presidency College, Calcutta. So very interestingly, I was doing a full-time, post-graduation along with my job as a medical rep. So I was doing two things at the same time, which at that time was people hardly had thought of. And when I discussed this with then my zonal manager, that I actually want to study more rather than getting into the job, he said that you have been doing a fantastic job as a medical rep. Please continue, and wherever you need help, you take our help. But we are not bothered about your higher education, because at the end of the day, if everybody looks for a job and you already have a job, so it's up to you how you manage. But anyway, I took it as a challenge, and I studied hard, and I also worked hard, and I was successful in accomplishing both of them. Actually accomplished my master's in science, and also did a wonderful job at Searle for 2 years. And then I realized that this is not a bad choice. It's a very interesting industry, interacting with doctors. And because I myself never wanted to become a doctor, because as I said, my dream was something else. But how we were getting trained and delivering what was needed was something interesting. So I thought, why not let me work with the best multinational company in the world. And that time Pfizer was the number one company, and I saw an ad for PSO, professional service officer, and they were looking for some young, energetic, people. They wanted to launch their labs business. Labs means basically critical care business and all that stuff. So I applied for it. I got it. Fortunately, I never failed any of my interviews till today, with the grace of God and all that. And then it was a very interesting turning point in my life, because when I joined Pfizer, I was also selected for CDS, the Combined Defense Services, to become an Army officer. But there I met my wife, Kakoli. Yeah. And that actually changed the journey, because she was like always, like how she made her decisions in her life, that she never wanted to join the civil services, which she qualified for. And now here's somebody who wants to join the army. And that time it was 1999, and the Kargil war was it's the beginning of the Kargil war. And she was like completely, against it. They said, no, you cannot, you should not join. And fine, we took a call, and then I continued, in Pfizer. And when we decided to get married, Pfizer had a policy that husband and wife can't get married in the same and work in the same team. So somebody had to, take the move apart. So I said, fine, I'll move, and that's what happened. And that's where I moved out of Pfizer and joined BOC Gases. So it's a British company at that time called British Oxygen Corporation, and very interesting job it was, because I was managing service engineers that time, and launched a couple of very interesting products and all. So that's how the journey started. And from BOC, I had a short stint in Becton Dickinson, and from there I joined Johnson and Johnson. And in Johnson and Johnson, that's where I had very deep understanding and learning of the healthcare industry, entire healthcare industry, because they were the biggest healthcare company of the world. They are still the biggest healthcare company of the world. So not only pharmaceuticals, they are into medical devices, very innovative products and all that. So I was given responsibility for a very innovative range of products, and my territory was entire East India. That included 14 states of India, and also neighboring countries of Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, and things like that. Anyway, so it was a very interesting journey. And by the time I completed almost 10 years of my working experience based out of East. And I realized to move up the ladder, especially with companies and MNCs like Johnson & Johnson, you need to have a MBA from an international institute. In fact, IIM was also not good enough for them. So that is the time I decided that if I want to become a vice president of Johnson & Johnson, I have to have a degree from Harvard Business School. So now how do we get it? We come from a very simple middle class, family, growing up with our own, strengths and all that. And that time, my son was just 4 years old. I had a very good job with Johnson and Johnson.
Stability.
Kakuli was very stable in Pfizer. Yeah, but I took a interesting decision. I decided to leave my job, took a study loan, and went for my MBA to a Harvard Business School setup called Asian Institute of Management in Manila, Philippines. Uh, Everybody, till now they question, how did you take a decision and why did you leave such a good job and all that? I said, yeah, that's the call I took in order to grow. That's why I call myself a futurist, because I think at least 10 years ahead of time, and at least I've thought so far, and I've been absolutely correct in all my decisions. So went to this interesting program. It was a 1 year rigorous, on campus, high end general management program, and it's a leadership program. And I studied and I consulted 4 companies at the same time. And I also consulted Johnson and Johnson Philippines. I did the entire corporate strategy for Johnson and Johnson Philippines that time. I'm talking about 2005, 2006. So after that, the world was my world had many opportunities to offer me, and I was getting opportunities in Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines. So I asked Kakuli that now would you like to come to Singapore? I have this beautiful opportunity here at a global level. And she gave me a very unique answer, which was like, I was just laughing at it. She said that, I don't want my child to grow in an island nation. Yeah, so you can think think about it.
I stood block
Yeah, so
in Kolkata.
yeah, so that's
like-
where the mind block comes, when you are based too much yourself in a small metro city. You don't know the world outside, so that's how the mind block comes. So I said, okay, so if you are not,
and also one more thing, and also I was very much I wanted to become the first lady regional business manager for Pfizer India, and I was working really hard for that. So that was also one reason to not move and leave everything and move.
yeah. So I respected her decision. I thought, fine, I'm quite capable of getting opportunities in India as well. There's no problem. I'll move back. But I said that if I move back, then I will have opportunities in either Mumbai or Delhi. Are you ready to still come down there? She said, yes, I will find my opportunity there, no problem. So I moved into Mumbai, and I got my first opportunity with IMS Health. I'm sure everybody knows IMS Health in the pharma industry, but they were the biggest market research and consulting firm that time. And I started consulting for IMS, and
If you actually consulted Pfizer.
yeah, and I started consulting 2 companies. One was Pfizer and another was Ranbaxy. So Ranbaxy was going through a lot of change that time with portfolio optimization and sales force effectiveness and all that. And in Pfizer, I was now, where I started as a rep, now I was advising the managing director how to run the business and how to optimize his portfolio, how to optimize the sales force and all that. So it was a very interesting journey, and I still remember when I was taking my sessions. On the other side, they were all my past bosses and managers, the regional managers, the district managers, and all that. And I was advising them how to take care of their sales force and all. It's a very, very interesting, I would say, you know time, that how I developed, and now was advising the same group for whom I worked for in the beginning of my career. Anyway, so the consulting stint, what Kakuli mentioned in her during her time, is that you can advise a lot, but 80% of those strategies are not implemented on the ground. So I found that there is a big disconnect. Yeah, as a consultant, you can do a lot of analysis, a lot of research, and then you can advise a lot of strategies and all that. But at the end of the day, only maybe hardly 20% of them gets really implemented. So it was not exciting me enough. I was thinking that I need to move back to hardcore operations and bigger roles and all that. And that time, Novartis was looking for a global project head to take care of technical transfers of their products from US and European markets to India, and they were emphasizing on putting up manufacturing sites in India. And I applied for that role and got it. And interestingly, now I was managing a big project team, multiple countries, and I was instrumental in setting up 3 manufacturing plants for them in Maharashtra. So one tablet manufacturing unit entirely for export markets, then one anti-TB formulations market plant, and also an API manufacturing plant. And I also was given an additional responsibility to manage global tuberculosis business. So I was involved in from drug discovery to market delivery. Yeah, and I'm not a pharmacist. Yes, I'm a postgraduate in science and all that, but I learned it in a hard way, and I was involved in the research and clinical studies of pediatric anti-TB formulations, and then launching it to different markets of the world. And that was the time I was, traveling a lot, and I traveled to all the CIS countries like the Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, part of Russia, and all that. And then I was also traveling almost all the African countries. And I remember 2007 was the first time when I came to Kenya to meet the Ministry of Health, launch the pediatric formulations, working with the Stop TB, working with Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and all that. And I realized that there is so much of gap in terms of infrastructure and service delivery in the African continent. And I thought that if I can do something in this part of the world, that will be wonderful. So I almost had a stint of almost 5 years in Novartis, during which it was a great learning experience because I was part of the leadership team of Novartis. I also qualified the leadership course programs they used to do for the global leadership team and all that. So a very interesting experience and a very good career which was going on. But then वो कीड़ा एक है मेरे अंदर कभी भी कुछ so that when I see that something which I have it in my mind and I need to deliver, and I continuously think about it. And Africa was always on the horizon. And so it so happened that once we were having a discussion with Dr. Naresh Trihan, the chairman of Medanta, the Medicity, and he was telling his stories about that how they get 10% of their patients from Africa, and they wanted to do something in Africa. So I asked him, what do you want to do? I said, can we open a hospital? I said, rather than opening a hospital, I think what you need to invest in is diagnostics, because the basics are missing there. People are not getting diagnosed on time, not with the right equipment and all that. And that's why the treatment is delayed. And that's why many of them who can afford, they land up here in India. So he said that, so what should we do? So I said, the best place to start your business in Nairobi, because your logistics and supply chain is very well managed there. The connectivity is good, and you have got at least some credible healthcare infrastructure which you can bank upon. So then he asked me, would you like to lead this? Would you like to take this and move forward? I said, I've never worked for a family run or an Indian company. I don't know how it will be. I said, no, we will give you all support. You decide how you want to do it, and we'll get you the investors and everything. So that's where the journey for Africa started in terms of basing myself, and I came with an investment of $15 million to set up the first big diagnostic center in Kenya, and that's how the journey started. And I was on a call, and I asked her from Delhi that now we are moving to Nairobi. Are you going to come along with me? And now she was in Mumbai, a very beautiful opportunity, and working as a regional business manager for Pfizer, managing the entire Western team, very well settled. Yeah. And when I asked this question, within seconds she said, yes, I'm moving along with you. I said, what about your job? You have such a beautiful career ahead with you. Let me manage this. No. She said, no, we are staying together and we are moving together. As that was a very interesting surprise for me, which is very nice, and it worked well. So we moved in actually in December 2011. Actually, that was the time we moved in without thinking too much. We just moved in with our son, and we based out ourselves here. And that was a very interesting move actually, because that's where a lot of learning in terms of the cultural dynamics, of how you want to make a startup successful, because it was completely a greenfield project starting from scratch and then making it big. So yeah, so that's why the thinking big is not good enough, but executing it to perfection, that's where the beauty lies, and that's what we were able to do it. And the journey has been very interesting from there. So we set up a very big diagnostic unit with the first 3 Tesla MRI of Africa, first 256 slice CT, a fully automated lab, set up 36 collection centers and satellites, and we went up to Zambia, setting up businesses, diagnostic business in Zambia, Uganda, Tanzania, Ethiopia, Rwanda, all these East African countries. It was very interesting journey, uh, which we started there. And it so happened that the second part of the development was after diagnostic. It was the hospital project, which was supposed to be on the cards, but the company was making good amount of money from diagnostics. They said, fine, let's make some more money and then we'll think about the hospital later. I said, no, if you are deviating from your dream or vision, then maybe it's not right for me just to manage a diagnostic center, because my capacity and my capability is much more than that. And that's when I decided that I'm never going to work for anyone in future, but for myself only. And I started my consulting firm called Amazing Africa in 2013. And since then, all my projects across the globe are through my consulting firm, Amazing Africa. So that's how my role as the group CEO and MD of MediHill group of hospitals was as a consulting role. My role as a CEO of MP Shah Hospital, which is the third largest hospital in Kenya, was as a consulting role. And all my projects right now, I do consulting and all that. But what I did is I also started looking at innovative business opportunities, and I launched many businesses where I invested myself or I partnered with like-minded people. So after Amazing Africa, I started a couple of other companies as well, and which are all futuristic companies looking at futuristic projects, products, and all that. I'll just give you one example. Yes, we are definitely, Amazing Africa is into with my our sister companies, we are into pharmaceutical business as well, distribution as well. We are also into medical devices, medical equipment, and all that. And all these companies are not based in Kenya. We have companies based in Mauritius, for example, overlooking the African market and all that. So those companies are there, which are deeply into medical devices, equipment, and pharmaceutical business. But at the same time, there were some very innovative concepts I launched. For example, I have a paper manufacturing plant, and very interesting. Maybe it is not in the context of pharma industry, but it is useful for the pharma industry, and it is a social enterprise where we make handmade papers from agro waste, which are 100% biodegradable with zero chemicals, and it has got seeds inside. So the paper products which we make out from here, we use, we adopt villages and we give them this work, and we collect all the agro waste, and then we make paper, and and when we throw this paper, this actually disintegrates with the soil and it grows to edible plants. So it's a very unique concept. So we have a manufacturing site in Bangalore, and we are putting up the second manufacturing site in Kenya. So that's one of my social enterprise projects where we only employ socially deprived people, and we engage them into this activity. So that is one project. Another project where I advise, and this has been a concept which I launched in 2006 during my MBA days, was something to do with e-commerce. Just to tell you that whenever something new comes, I'm one of the first ones to jump in. When this e-commerce, I don't know whether you remember, in 1999, Y2K phenomenon happened, and there was first time, there was something to do with e-commerce started. A bubble started actually, which burst that time. But I was one of the first few people who got trained on e-commerce in 1999. Yeah, I'm talking about long back. Now e-commerce is a big success, but that time the training and the infrastructure setup and how you do e-commerce, that concept started. So I learned that time, and I created a model in 2006 where we were That time in fact, I had a meeting with Mr. Nandan Nilkani also in 2006, where we were discussing about what we call Aadhaar card today. That time it was called UID, and we were discussing about UID and how to link UID to your medical health records, and how it becomes one social number which is linked to everything around an individual, whether it's his profession, whether it's finance, whether it's healthcare, everything is related to one. I launched a part of it in Philippines, a part of it in Malaysia as well, where it became very successful. And when we were planning to launch in India, it was, I would say, before time. Yeah, and that didn't work because of many reasons, but now it's working. Now Aadhaar has become a phenomenon, and now they are trying to link the healthcare aspect also, and it's going to be soon a reality. So that concept I started in 2006. In Kenya, we launched it last year through a very interesting platform called Ponia Health. You can actually, just type poniahealth.com, you will find that. So it's a healthcare aggregator. Any healthcare service you want, you can get through that platform. Whether you want a drug, whether you want to speak to a doctor, whether you want an appointment with a hospital, you want to schedule a surgery, everything can be done through that online platform. So these are some innovative concepts which I launched, and I'm still working on few more which are in the pipeline. And that's where the journey is going to continue. So I can keep on talking like this. You can have to interrupt me and you ask a specific question, please.
Yeah, definitely, sir. That was really a journey all of us enjoyed hearing about. And it said that man proposes, God disposes. So in your case, it was becoming an army officer. And in ma'am's case, it was becoming a civil servant. And just see the way God has disposed both of them. But then you both are really, really successful. And another thing, since today is Mother's Day, I definitely salute the role that ma'am played when it came to shifting along with you to Africa, because she was well placed, well settled. I won't use the word settled because settled means stagnancy. She was well placed with Pfizer. Okay, but then she decided to accompany you. She sacrificed her career because she said your son was 11 years old, and that is the time he needs more of the mother. So for that reason, this is definitely a salute to the Mother's Day, which is incidentally today, and salute to the motherhood. And I'll definitely salute the companionship and of course the collaborations that you both had in your journey so far. Indeed, it has been really very mesmerizing the way you have both designed your careers. And one thing I appreciate, sir, when you said that I decided I'm not going to work anymore for anybody else, so whatever I'm going to do from my own side. And that speaks the determination, the belief on the capabilities that you are having, and that is one thing that has taken you so far in your journey. But definitely, sir, it is said that cultural diversities are something that is always there between the two countries. So you have started your career, as you said, as a medical rep in Surrey in India, and that too in West Bengal, Kolkata. So, and then the journey that has finally taken you to Africa, there has been many cultural differences, or should I say cultural barriers. Okay, so what exactly has been your take in overcoming the cultural barriers and then taking them, making them into opportunities that you have done so far? So just take us through this journey of overcoming the cultural barriers.
Yes, absolutely. I think what is very important, I think Kakuli mentioned during her, talk as well, is that when you go to a different geography or you join a different organization, in my career also, I worked across different organizations. So every organization also behaves differently, in terms of cultural dynamics, and it's true with geography also. So I think one has to move in when you're moving into a new organization or you're moving into a new geography. I think you must move in with an empty cup. In terms of, you forget about what you've learned in the past and forget about all your egos and everything. I think what is very important is, until unless you move with an empty cup and you give opportunity to understand the other side of the story and where you are, whether it's an organization or a geography, you will not be able to, execute or be successful. The reason is, it's very important because until unless you understand the cultural dynamics of how an individual functions in a specific geography, or how they grew up, what has been their journey, and what is more predominant in that part of the world. And if you don't understand and appreciate and you try to impose everything, it's going to be a very big flop show. And I learned it the hard way, actually. For example, I'll give you one example. When I moved in with the diagnostic industry in India, it's very popular. In lab business, for example, you have collection centers all across India. Whether you talk about all the big 4, 5 labs, they are full of collection centers. Every gully kucha, you have a lab in a collection center. So we thought that let's start with big bang and let's put collection centers all across East Africa. And we did that. In 6 months' time, we put 36 collection centers. So interesting part is it flopped. So I'll tell you why it flopped. Because here the cultural psyche that time was, you're taking my blood sample. Where are you taking it? Because they never had the idea that blood can be transferred from any place. No, you're taking my blood sample. I want to see where you're testing it now. And he said, oh, we are taking it to our reference lab. I said, no. I want to see where you're taking my blood. So it was a shock for us. I said, what? And it never worked. So what worked is we converted them into satellite centers where we put some nice looking equipment and all that. And we are showcasing that, you see, we are taking the blood and we're taking it to this machine. We're doing it here. We're centrifuging here. We're putting into this machine. That worked. So if we think that whatever worked in India will also work in other parts of the world, it's a wrong notion. So I think that's why the understanding is very important. Please understand that, for example, when we are working in Africa, at least most of the countries in Africa are at least 20 years behind India in terms of development, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of mindset and all that. But there are few elements which are much better than India as well. For example, when we came here, we learned that M-Pesa works here. That time, India was nowhere near M-Pesa or any mobile money, but it was very popular here. I'm talking about 10 years back. Yeah, India was nowhere there. So in terms of adopting technologies, because this technology was so easy, it never required a smartphone. Also, a normal phone can do it, and mobile banking was so popular that time. So you have to learn and appreciate what is prevalent in this market or the geography and all the other organizations. You need to appreciate that, and then you think and strategize that how now you're going to get things done for yourself. Now, when you move to organizations in leadership roles, so most of my roles were in leadership roles. When you go as a CEO to an organization, so I look at it a very different perspective, and I give this example in every meeting which I have with my general managers or VPs. I give them the story of I'm sure everybody knows this story of the monkey story. I call it the monkey experiment, and maybe all of you know, but still I would like to repeat that. And very, very interesting. When you go to an organization, you'll see that they work with certain cultural mindset. It's been prevailing for years. For example, for current hospital which I manage is a 100-year-old hospital. It was set up by the Britishers 100 years ago. Yeah. So if you're working in such a old hospital, you'll have a lot of old people working, a lot of old colleagues working, and they have a very set cultural mindset which has been prevailing for over the years. But how do you change it? So the one example I give is there was a famous experiment done by one of the scientists where they put few monkeys in a cage. Yeah. And so these monkeys were given a banana, a bunch of banana from the top, and they kept it in a nice place where they can reach and take it. But every time a monkey went for the banana, they used to pour cold water. Yeah. So what happened? Monkeys were like, what is happening? I'm trying to reach the banana and you're putting cold water to it. So what's happening? So nobody was able to take the banana, because every time somebody was trying to reach, the others are trying to pull him down because they were afraid of the cold water being splashed on them, because you're trying to reach the banana. Now, what the experiment did is they replaced one of the monkeys from that set of, the old monkeys, and they replaced with a new one. And now this new guy comes inside the cage and he looks at the banana and says, wow, I have banana. Let me take the banana. He reaches for the banana, but others pull him down. Why? Because they're afraid of the cold water. Now, by doing this, slowly, the scientists replaced all the old monkeys one by one and replaced with all new monkeys. Now, the cage has got all new monkeys, but with the same cultural mindset, because everybody, whoever is trying to reach the bananas, they're afraid of getting the cold water. But for last so many times, there was no cold water. It's the banana is still there, but there was no cold water. But the mindset was like that everybody's thinking about why because the previous monkey, he never experienced the cold water, but he was always brought down. So it always kept in his mind that, okay, if I go and try to reach the banana, I'll be pulled down. So that's why everybody is pulling down. But a lot of things changed. Nothing changed. Yeah, there was no water, but the bananas were still there. So this is how the old mindset work. You work with certain set parameters and cultural background, and over the time, maybe the purpose for which that program or thing was introduced is not more relevant, but still you try to act like you are in the old school. So that's how you start making them like, fine, now you move out, there is no cage, it's only bananas, please go for the bananas, yeah, and try to reach your dreams and all that. So that's how you change the cultural dynamics in an organization, by these simple things, and how you try to make everybody realize that whatever you're doing in the past may not be always right. There are a lot of new things to learn in the process, so let's all move in with the empty cup. So that's how I would say we try to make a difference with the understanding of cultural dynamics.
Yes, absolutely. The story of the monkey reminds me of this classical conditioning theory of Pavlov, where the salivation started the moment the bell started ringing. And even if the bones were not there, the bell was ringing, the salivation was continuing. And it is so relevant with this classical conditioning theory and the story of the monkeys that you said so far. So, in fact, pharmaceutical industry has been very conservative as far as embracing technology was concerned, because every other industry embraced technology, but the pharma industry were always a little bit reluctant. But then during this COVID, this digitalization probably was what you can say a disruptive innovation that touched the pharmaceutical industry, and they plunged into the blue oceans of embracing technology, the digital technology. So what, according to you, is the golden mantra for digitalization and the blue oceans in the pharma
And
industry?
the second part of this answer has to be given by Ms. Das as well, because I would also love to understand how effective has this digitalization made inroads in the field force management. So both of you would answer this thing.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. I think realization was very good during the COVID period, because uh, uh, there were restrictions on the movement of people and manpower and all that. But we found innovative ways to communicate still with our clients through maybe WhatsApp, phone, emails, then social media and all that. And as we grow, we know that the entire technology is moving towards digitization, and the entire communication platform, like what we are doing today, it was not available before. We never thought of how it can be more interactive, and we can touch with people all around the world, with what you started as LPC. The interesting part is there's a big role digitization is going to play in the pharma industry also, and especially when we talk about pharma industry, we only think about from the role of sales and marketing, right? So sales and marketing is just one part. Please understand, there's a huge, I would say 80% is behind how you involve yourself in the drug discovery. Yeah. And then you start all the phases of the drug discovery, the 4 or 5 phases of the drug discovery, where technology is hugely, involved. And then you move into clinical research, and you do, 2-3 different rounds of clinical research, then human trials, before animal trial, after animal trials, and all that. And then you start test marketing, you start stability studies, and there's a long process, and there's a big team behind it. A lot of work goes behind it, and then finally it comes to the front face with our marketing team to design and tools and equip ourselves with great strategies and communications to launch it to our customers, which are basically doctors and institutions and all that. Now a lot
Dr. Das, I
happens.
have a question for you. So
Yeah.
all these digital technologies, they have made inroads in African continent, or it is restricted to only sales and marketing domain? Or as a management head, how far you have adopted these things in your day-to-day setup in terms of management, in terms of non-marketing side of your domains?
So interestingly, now every grown-up institute has got very big, beautiful softwares. So which takes care of your entire operations, which takes care of your financial accounting system. So it's all interlinked, and it also takes care of your all the customer facing applications and tools. Now for us in digital marketing space, what we did, how we digitized ourselves, for example, the it evolved actually drastically in last 2 years. For example, right now we use technology for. I'll just give you some of the examples. For we are able to do simple diagnostics at home. So what happens is you can do ECGs. I'm sure all of you know ECGs, right? So ECGs can be done from anywhere in the world to any place in the world and being reported by a cardiologist in 6 minutes. I'm not sure whether you are aware of it. So I helped launch a company called Tricog, where they are masters in digital technology in terms of cardiology diagnostics. So you can take this ECG, which is actually you can do it through your smartphone with all the electrodes and all that. You just connect it with the controller, and you take the ECG. And ECGs can be taken by any nurse or any healthcare professional. It's not very complicated.
So fantastic. So this thing is happening in Kenya, as per you.
In Kenya, yes. In Africa,
So
it's
this is the
happening
answer,
in
yeah.
Kenya right now.
Great.
Yeah. Similarly, like I'm just giving you one example of ECG. So similarly, we are also doing echocardiography at home or any remote clinics. Again, through connected with the software with very smart equipment machines, and the reporting is done by a cardiologist within 30 minutes. Similarly, we have adopted digital radiology. So nowadays, ultrasounds, X-rays, CT scans, and MRIs, which were earlier not possible, is reported by a radiologist within half an hour to 45 minutes from anywhere in the world. Yeah, so this is how we adopted, radiology. Similarly, lab medicine. So there's a lot of digital pathology work going on. So you don't have to have your pathologist sitting there in the lab, reporting on every slide or every, this thing. Pathologists can be sitting anywhere. It is linked to the electron microscope, and all your equipment are so advanced now that digitally they report. Yeah, so there's a lot of things. These are things happening in the healthcare industry. Now in pharmaceutical industry also, there which I'm sure Kakuli will elaborate further. There are big roles of digitalization. For example, your entire supply chain management is managed through an ERP system. So your hospital inventory and stores is linked to the inventory of your distributor. So your distributor is able to see that where are the gaps, where the stocks are less, and I need to plan for my next stock next week. So these things are happening right now in Africa as we speak. It's happening in Kenya. So we have got this digital marketplace where we supply to B2B clients and B2C clients through this digital platform by connecting with their inventories through their software. So these things are happening right now.
Amazing. Kakuli ma'am, what is your take on this digitalization among the field force?
I'm just going to touch upon the field force, how they are right now. The reporting system of field force has totally digitalized because they're carrying tablet, and there are softwares that it is GPS connected, and then wherever, when in the doctor's chamber, they're detailing from the tablet, and it's getting all the analysis are possible. You can see where your rep is sitting at office only. Sitting in India only, you can actually be able to see a manager where the rep is working today, which are the products he has detailed, how many calls he has made, and everything. And also the cells, like the ERP system, which directly connects you with the cells of that rep. You have a target, which are the customers been billed that day, what is the business and everything. So everything over here is digitalized. Not all softwares have been purchased by all the companies, obviously, because it has some cost. But yeah, in our company, actually, we have got we have given tablet to all the reps. Yeah, so all pharmaceutical reps, they are going with that one, and all the reports are coming to us. So like you can have not only from call average, coverage, the doctor's missed, and all those things that we used to do manually earlier, or on an Excel sheet earlier. Now those reports are just with the click of a button. You can get every time you can get all those things. Those are happening. I'll say that lot of society meetings have happened through as like webinar, and cross country consultants got involved, and led more and more meetings on a new molecule or something that are happening, where a KOL from Ukraine, like I had just the other day, and sitting there, and then a KOL from Kenya are talking to a range of gynecologists, and their questions. We are just using all these Zoom and Teams platform to do all those things. More than this, in the consumer forum, I'll say that every company has got their own website. They are there, and then their websites got developed much more. E-commerce platform has been evolved, and I'll say that because of COVID, I think that has really transformed, because that has pushed the pharma industry to go into that level, because there was a time we were not meeting one-to-one, but still it is an evolving field, I'll say that, and Kenya has to, and we face challenges, like once you have a tablet and you have asked to put an antivirus, they'll say that somebody has not put that one, and we cannot track where he is, or the reports are really not correct, so all those things are also there. And while implementing, we got a lot of challenges, because not everyone was like very comfortable that you are tracking where I am from morning till night, not done. So we had to really discuss, support, and we have to build it over a period of time. But okay,
But how
so
would
we
you
are
gain confidence of the people? It's a common challenge that you cannot track me morning till evening. So how did you overcome this challenge?
I think that my idea or my communication to the force that I wanted to communicate was that whoever comes to the office, they have to punch and go in the biometric. So attendance is there for all office goers. But we in the field, we do not have. Yeah, it's for our own interest and analysis. How much time we give in the field? We all know if there is a call at 9 p.m., you still do, don't we? We do that for business. So obviously your evaluation is on business, but this is something that you would know that how much time you are giving. Are we working smartly, or we are just working like a donkey worker? So, all those things are very much important. More than that, the analysis that I want to do, like, I do not know my coverage. Like, okay, have I met these A-class doctors? It is till 15th of the month. And I want to know. With a click, that, oh, I have missed these two. Okay, let me plan and do this one. So all those are like internal, and then utilize the whole technology for your own self. Management has got no time to look into where you are to look into. Management has got no time to actually do that analysis, unless there is some fault findings has already happened and you want to dig into it. But it's for our own self that we should do our own analysis, that how far I am working effectively. And it's all on effectivity and efficiency parameter that you can actually yourself analyze. And from that perspective, slowly we have done. So far, touch wood, we have progressed a lot in our company. We have progressed a lot, but I know there are a lot of failures also other side. But I think that once we give them that confidence, and that I'm not going to do policing on you, I'm not going to find fault, let us do it. So we started with a doctor list, and the first time the doctor list came, there were 400 doctors. Wow, that is how we were working. 400 doctors come, and from there we now know that, okay, these are, I don't want to keep so many. Why I'm keeping? Do you need this? So now they come up, okay, this 120 is good enough for me. Let us focus here. And they see the difference as they keep on doing. They're seeing themselves the difference. And I think it's the hands-on that is giving them the confidence, and
Absolutely.
not
And
on
it's amazing that
critical
these
analysis.
technologies are being used even in African countries, which
Yes.
we have a cliche that that's a backward geography, but you have just changed our mindset that yes, Africa is equally equipped and working shoulder to shoulder as the other multinational companies. Fantastic.
I I
That's
would
all
just like
from
to
me.
add. I would just like to add here one more point. Yes, when it comes to technology, Africa is very fast to adopt. Let me tell you, yeah, they are very fast to adopt technology in terms of, say, so the smartphone penetration, and in terms of the cellular network, or in terms of internet. It's actually very deeply rooted compared to India also, in terms of accessibility and availability. So don't undermine that. Number one. Number two, there is a very important role in digitization which is happening in digital marketing space. And especially in marketing, how we are designing marketing tools are completely different on how you used to do before.
Yes.
Right now, we are using a lot of this audio, video,
AV.
AV medias, for detailing. For example, earlier we used to detail, with a detailing board and all that. But now it's audiovisual. Everything is audiovisual. You just, play it in front of the doctor. The communication is more precise and specific. Let me tell you, and whatever you want to communicate, it gets to the client rather than, somebody detailing because of the time and all the constraints. They try to focus on other things. So you have a more precise way of detailing, communicating your products. Also, the more precise way of building your brand, like how you associate with your brand, using social media and emerging technologies, and how you're getting into the analysis of your customers' preference and all that. So there is a lot happening in that space also. That's why digitization has got more, I would say, potential in terms of further development. And let me tell you, the technology which you are using right now in India or in Europe or US is equally applicable in Africa also. So don't think that you want to launch something which is 10 years behind. You have to be updated with time here as well if you want to be successful.
Perfect. Yes, Sarpan sir.
Yes.
Praveen.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's to open, sir.
Yeah. In fact, the discussions were so very mesmerizing. I think we could have gone on and on had there not been the constraint of time. But believe me, we have been having a very good live audience who are following, and they have complimented the way in which you have carried out this wonderful discussion. So I would be failing in my responsibility if I don't make a mention of the live audiences who have actually complimented the discussion. To name a few, Mr. Arun Kumar, Mr. Rohit Vilankar, Mr. Gurmeet Gill, Mr. Nilanjan Nag, Mr. Jitendra Bharadwaj, Mr. ICS Verma, Mr. Yashwant Mishra, Mr. Aditya Roy, Mr. Ashish Gaur, Mr. Muthalagan Narasu, Mr. Nasiruddin Chishti, Mr. Vipin, and Mr. Aramugam Arasan. So they have been constantly complimenting the way LPC 107 has been going on, and the way the speakers have enlightened us with their experience, their learning, and their knowledge. And I'm very sure this has been one of the best global sessions we have had so far. And of course, this has been a husband-wife duo that we have had for the very first time. So this probably will set the ball rolling. Yes, Praveenji, you want to add something?
Yeah, you have mentioned names, but I would like to mention two more names, which is really unexpected and predictable place. One is from Mr. Waldo from Ukraine. He is watching and he is appreciating. Mr. Sharad from Russia. So these two places are really critical at present, but both are appreciating. It's very nice session, and thank you so much. We are of course constrained with time, so I'll just leave to Mr. Arpan from here.
Yeah, so we come towards the end of this program, but before that, I would like to have a take home or your feedback on this session. So first, I'll come to Mr. Vishal. Mr. Vishal, your take home from today's session.
My take home is yes, the husband wife duo is a perfect correlation with the bicycle with two equal size, tires running smoothly. This is the first take home. Other in business sense, I would say, immense opportunity in African market, particularly Kenya. By the end of the session, I was very much clear that lots and lots of opportunities for healthcare professionals, for business development and sales and marketing side, and now at the side of digital awareness. So lots of opportunities for budding professionals like us, experienced and budding professionals from the industry. Lots and lots of opportunities. Thank you so much, Dr. Das and Mrs. Das.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much, Vishal sir, for your take home. Now I'll come to Mr. Praveen for his take home from today's session.
I have two good take homes, and both are completely personal. This is the first duo session, of course. So I have learned some about how to manage professional and personal life cycle, which I can see on screen. Second, still, as me and my wife is completely from two different professional parts. I am from pharma healthcare and she is from IT. So from this talk home, I am keeping 10% and 50% to apply, that how together we can work somewhere in same type of format. Of course, digitalization is the world at present, and pharma is evergreen. So it could be muted at a place, and we could affect it in a personal way. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you so much, Praveen sir. In fact, now I will come to Anup sir and Kakuli ma'am for their take home from their first session on LPC.
You start.
Okay, I'll say that it's been such an engaging discussion, and it is actually, after a long time, it has refreshed what I've done. It was like looking back and talking, and I was really asking that why I'm talking myself. The purpose is, of course, to open Kenya or East Africa as a market for all the budding, inspiring, who are aspiring for doing something in the international market. And also, I know that this will remain. It will inspire. It should, if we can inspire even one lady to come forward and then to take this as a profession in healthcare and give back to the society, because we used to say life is our life's work, because we are in a profession which is very noble in nature, and we touch every person's life. And from that angle, when I look into my profession, I feel there is a satisfaction after bringing even a new molecule to this market. Set aside the business, the money that you have made, but the satisfaction that it comes to your mind, that is something very, very, it is coming up, that if I have touched somebody and someone actually remembers this one, I'll say that this forum and whatever we have spoken will be really, really fruitful. I'm very, very delighted. I'm very, very honored to be part of this team. And thank you so much for giving us this opportunity.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. And I think the platform which you have developed, it's very interesting and very engaging. And if we are able to, this continuous learning process, it's so important for all of us. And as I said from the beginning, that I'm still learning. So there is no end to knowledge. So it's a continuous process, and the more you learn, the more you gain. But as I always say, you have to come with an empty cup. So that's why I would like to end with a very interesting African proverb, and maybe it may be helpful for few, but and some people can think about it. I always say that it is better to be a head of a cat than tail of a tiger.
True,
Fantastic.
true.
I don't know whether you've understood it. Yeah, it's better to be head of a cat, because you can decide for yourself. You have your own mind. You know what you're doing, rather than remaining as a tail of a tiger where you have no control, and you have to just move the way the tiger moves, and you have to just follow. So it's up to you whether you want to become a leader or a follower. Yeah. So with that, I would like to say thank you for organizing this wonderful session.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, ma'am. Indeed, you have been the real life example of work-life balance. In fact, we started with a famous Bangla line from Kavi Guru Rabindranath, that Takla Cholo Re. But then I would like to end with telling that ei poth jodi na shesh hoy. So the journey that you both have encapsulated for the last so many years, the togetherness that you have, and the amount of diversity that you bring into the table, that's the best part of being partners in the way that you have been. So from LPC, we thank both of you for adorning our platform and sharing your knowledge, your experience with so many of us. So as customary, towards the end of the program, I generally narrate a story to bring home the discussions that we have had so far. So today's story goes like this. Well, there was a boy and a girl who loved each other. But this girl hated herself because she was blind. She couldn't see the world. The only person she didn't hate was the loving boyfriend, because the boy loved the girl very much. And there was only one thing the girl wanted, that if any day she got back her vision, she would love to see this boy who loved her so much. And in fact, she wanted to marry him also. So one day someone donated a pair of eyes to this girl, and now she could see everything, including her boyfriend. Now her boyfriend asked her, now that you can see the world, would you like to marry me? The girl was shocked when she actually saw that the boyfriend was blind. okay, and refused to marry him. The boyfriend walked away with tears and wrote a letter which contained just one line: just take care of my eyes, dear. So, friends, when our circumstances change, so do our priorities. Happiness is an attitude of our mind, and our present circumstances don't determine where we go, they merely determine where we start. And as Anup sir said, that I always like to start from where, I never like to look back. And that has been the mantra, and that has been the total essence of the discussion we had on LPC so far, that our qualification doesn't determine where we go. It is just from where we start. It is basically the capability and belief in our own selves that determines where we reach. And that is why I started this meeting telling that if I want to go fast, I go alone. But if I want to go far, I go together. And that has been the mantra that we have in. So thank you so much for being on this session. Before that, I would like to thank once again our session support partner, Imagica Health, for supporting us in our learning journey. So thank you for being with us on this session. This is Arpan Kumar Paul, thanking all of you with a small request that we are still not over with the COVID-19 pandemic, and we need to maintain the protocols of SMS, that is sanitization, mask, and social distancing. And doing this, we are definitely going to win over this pandemic. So it is summertime everywhere. Please try to put some water on our terraces so that we can feed the birds, because they also need water. So thank you so much for being with us on LPC 107. This is Arpan Kumar Paul, wishing you all a very good weekend and a very goodbye, and with a promise of reconnecting with you next Sunday with a new set of speakers, a new set of thoughts, and a new set of learnings. So thank you so much. Have a great Sunday, and namaskar.
Namaskar. Good day.
Thank you, sir. So from here now, I'm ending the meeting. Thank you.
একজন এদিকে বলছে আর একজন এরকম বলছে